And again, with metal expansion, contraction, with the heat, it'll cause cracking, rusting, corrosion. If metal rusts, it'll get 6 to 10 times bigger than it originally was, and it'll cause issues too. So we're saying it's not going to stop cracking, but we think it'll reduce cracking. So why don't you scratch it up for us, Tony?
One thing I noticed also when this was applied about half an hour ago, it's kind of moving as this. Now it's kind of become a really flat surface, and it's really, I mean, it looks like it kind of ties everything together. Gotcha. So, well.
So one thing you want to do, you want to drive that mortar in. You want to put pressure on that. Put pressure on it and drive it in.
Is this the first time you're using this, Tony?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You had me fooled. You almost looked like you were doing.
First time I have my gloves on. You know, one thing you guys mentioned going sideways. I think what's nicer when you go sideways, like smoothing this out once it's in, because you're able to go in between the lines, so it kind of gives you the straighter line. You got to make sure it's a lot of. I
kind of like that when Tony scratches it tighter, it leaves a little ripple,
yep.
Which to me would be more of a hearing advantage when you go put the stone on there.
I'll tell you, you know, with metal, you got a lot of humping going on, and you're nailing those humps down to try to get it flat. If you're putting up a thin brick or something here, you're going to get a lot smoother surface here than you are with metal. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you're shooting your nails into that metal, it dimples really long into the metal.
Yeah, and that's what they're, you know, now they're talking with the dimples now. So.
Right.
Well, a lot of times when they have that spec in for thin brick, they want fatty. In the wire and out, you're automatically flashing. Like that job I was telling you about, they want a full tap-in set with the heavy-duty wire before any stones come out. So what happened to, scratching is very important, but you heard about when they rested with the bowling brook promenade out there. Frank told me this when they were out there. They put it was all on the auto. Yeah. And I mean, he did beautiful brickwork, but I mean, the stone, thousands of square feet. I mean, it was unbelievable. And what happened is, I forgot who the DC was, and they found an area, but they didn't quite scratch coat. They couldn't sure. You know, so it's important where when you get to the commercial part of it, they're out there inspecting it. Yeah. And it's so important with stretch. Yeah. I mean, I tell my guys, if I ever see if I even see one little bare spot, they're done. Right. You know what I mean? It's so important. It does get the stretch. Right.
Tony, how's that feel? I mean, when compared to metal? I mean,
this is kind of just second coat to give that extra quarter-inch on top. It's really short time. We did this 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago, and it's getting really tight, and it's much easier to put a second coat on to get that quarter-inch on top. So it's
how's it when you're going into the mesh itself, the quarter-inch to get the behind? I mean, how much pressure are you putting on there to get it in there?
I think the first time you try to push it a little harder so it goes in.
Yeah.
And then when you want to get that extra thickness, you just go lightly on it just to smooth it out, to brush it. But I mean, this it goes pretty easy in.
Goes pretty. The thing that's nice about those strips is that the fill-in behind it it's not going to be falling, so it's going to be holding it up.
Yeah, especially if you go down on it, just to make sure that void is still there.
Yeah. That's another advantage of running a motor.
Right. Tony, how would you describe the difference in applying the mortar to this versus metal?
I think this is a little bit easier where you're able to push it in a little bit more instead of where metal, if it's not perfectly straight, or especially when you have 4 sheets of metal coming in the corner, you have these humps that you're trying to work around it to make it as even as possible. So this is a little bit easier to force it in.
You got a clean corner.
That corner looks pretty good. Just for a short corner.
Did you spend a lot of time crimping a corner to make sure it's tight? And
Yeah, well, that's where you stand the
Crisp
wire
or-
up and it bends real nice. And
Yeah.
well, I was telling the guys because the wire lath, we like to use it to actually tie that corner in because when they do a California corner, that's the first thing that go
so you stand it up vertically
for the corners.
for the corners, and then run the flats into it,
Yeah,
or vice versa.
because it's hard to bend it when we're doing it, laying the sheet horizontally. It doesn't bend as nice. Plus,
Even the corner piece.
oh no, we don't buy the pre-cut.
How come?
Just because it's only 3.5 by 3.5, then you're still putting another sheet over that. We like to tie the whole wall into it. So like this over here, we put, from here over, we'd overlap it onto there.
But I told Jerry about our working together. The first time
You like that, huh? I'll tell you.
sales all together. Before we had you guys,
I don't know how good this mic is.
What's that?
I said I don't know how good this microphone is, so I don't know if I caught that or not.
No, it's just
I know.
little scooper over there. Tony on a commercial now.
Getting me in trouble all in the morning.
No, no.
You guys
Not as quick.
just trying to put that 1/4 inch up on top of with the wire, or trying to?
Well, no, with the wire we just scratch it, and then we just obviously when we put the stone up, we get
You got a lot
we
of-
got every bit of a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch behind it.
Well, I mean, right. You can fill it when you do the stretch code. You can fill it
Go
up
ahead.
underneath, but I mean, I don't know. We're asking to do another coat of.
See, this is the only thing that I mean, this is no different than wire, but I just look at how much of an advantage is that.
But it's still tied.
Oh no, I understand. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Well, the wire you're penetrating. I mean, the wire. The thing about a wire is that it has
It's got the cups.
Yeah, it's got the cups.
Right, it's got something there. But I mean, no, I mean, this acts the same as wire. It's just that the advantages are is because it doesn't, doesn't deteriorate it. It's, you know what I mean? It doesn't have a reaction to the motor and everything. No, I mean, I'd love
no
to try
rust,
it.
no rust, no
No
rust.
rust, yeah.
Hey, from a time standpoint, any idea on how much
Saving?
time you think you'd save?
I think the kind of way to save time is basically where you have 2 or 3 guys and especially corners. I mean, it's much easier to handle by yourself when you do like in the corner in between the windows or something. On the long application, yeah, I mean, you got one guy stretching it, but like you mentioned, we don't have 50-foot sections or 50 feet wall.
Well, you're not dealing with 72 pieces of, on a 1,200 square foot job, you're dealing with 72 pieces of metal versus 4 rolls of this.
Yeah.
I mean, just the handling alone.
Oh, watch your head.
Sorry.
But what most guys, this is Tony's first install. Most guys are telling us after they do 2 or 3 installs with it, when they get used to it, they'll save 40 to 50% when they're hanging the sheets up
Let me just ask you this real
or
quick.
hanging the lath up.
Your opinion and yours too, Kevin, is that like you take a column like this, okay, and obviously sheets of wire, like when we do columns on garages, and if it's only the column's only 2 foot, that gives us the 4-inch overhang where we run the wire over here and then lap it over and then nail the hell out of it. On an application like this, is there a problem rolling this roll all the way up, because the 4 foot would come over to here and then wrap the vertical or horizontally over here to tie it in? Because these are going to fall. These are how far apart? 6 inches. Okay, so it wouldn't really fall on a stud then. It wouldn't fall on a stud.
Right, but you could run it the other way if you.
I'm just saying,
You can.
You know what I mean? And then kind of pull it down.
Right.
Just on, just when it
With
calls for it.
tall
like-
applications, a lot of guys will run them down the other
to your
direction.
to your
I mean?
point, Scott,
Yeah,
earlier
right
on.
there, that's where it would end.
Yeah.
And you got the studs there. Now you come across here, fold it over there, do your 2-inch overhang, and just nail it.
To your point about the scaffolding and being able to make a run.
Right.
There's actually a job that was done out in the West Coast, I think,
Yeah.
in Washington State, where they ended up running the lath vertical down the wall for that same reason. They ran their scaffolding, then they went up to the top and dropped the rolls down. So they went up there with like 4 rolls, boom, 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 worked 16
That'd be
feet, went
awesome.
straight
You can do
down.
that.
The only thing is that not having that nailing fin fall on a stud.
It's not going to be
If
flying
it's,
up.
it will every other one.
Right.
you know what I mean? And then you can, you know.
Well, what's going on then? You're kind of just nailing blindly a little bit, like
Well,
you would
that's
metal.
right, but
You're
I mean,
just
it,
hitting that sheet
As long
and
as you,
that's 24 inches,
the safe the safe thing would be as long as you run that strip down the stud,
yeah.
then at least you're gonna hit it because every
Right.
third one
Third
would be
I'm just looking to where then you
actually
stretch
no
it down.
actually no it wouldn't because that's 18
6 foot,
inches.
yeah,
And
right.
keep it all in one solid piece too, you
Yeah.
know?
The challenge you want to make sure you hit the stud because it's not every third.
Right.
Every third would be 18 inches.
90% of the guys that do it, they do it like this. We even have one of the spiderlath owners. He runs it the other way. That's how he's always done it. When I first came aboard with spiderlath, I was like, whoa, no, do it this way. Just because of the stud lineup,
Right.
just because of that 6 inch, and just because of the fill-in behind it, you're not going to get that fall.
You think you can get them to put little black notches on the verticals to
Much
line up
easier to
with the
work
studs?
around
That's a good
You know
idea.
what I mean? I mean, just, you know.
utilities.
Because even though you know the stud's there, it doesn't mean you're hitting it. When you're sitting there nailing
Exactly
away,
right.
you just get out of
Yeah.
control.
See, now here's another picture we did. This is up in Maine.